For more than 2,000 years, one structure has stood as the ultimate symbol of China's determination to defend its borders. Stretching across mountains, deserts, grasslands, and river valleys, the Great Wall of China remains one of the largest construction projects ever attempted by human civilization. Today, millions of people visit the wall every year, and its image is recognized across the globe. Yet the real story behind the Great Wall is far more fascinating than most people realize. Why was it built? Who ordered its construction? How many people worked on it? How many died building it? And did it actually succeed in protecting China from invasion? The story begins long before the wall became a symbol of China. More than 2,300 years ago, China was not a single country. Instead, it was divided into several rival kingdoms that constantly fought for territory and power during a period known as the Warring States era. Warfare was a part of daily life, and every kingdom searched for ways to protect its land from both neighboring states and powerful nomadic tribes living to the north. To strengthen their defenses, several kingdoms began constructing large walls along vulnerable borders. These early walls were not made of stone. Most were built from rammed earth, gravel, and wood. Workers would place soil between wooden frames and repeatedly compact it until it became hard enough to serve as a defensive barrier. These structures were effective, but they were built independently and served different rulers. Everything changed in 221 BC. A ruler named Qin Shi Huang defeated the rival kingdoms and unified China for the first time in history. As the first emperor of a united China, he controlled a vast territory unlike anything seen before in the region. However, while Qin Shi Huang had conquered his rivals, a serious threat remained beyond the northern frontier. The northern grasslands were home to powerful nomadic warriors known as the Xiongnu. These horsemen were fast, highly mobile, and extremely difficult to defeat. Unlike traditional armies, they could launch sudden raids against villages and military outposts before disappearing back into the open steppe. The emperor believed that a stronger northern defense was necessary. Rather than starting from scratch, he ordered existing walls built by former kingdoms to be connected, expanded, and reinforced. This decision marked the beginning of what would eventually become known as the Great Wall of China. The scale of the project was extraordinary. Historical records and modern estimates vary, but many historians believe that between 300,000 and 500,000 workers participated in the construction efforts during the Qin Dynasty alone. Some estimates are even higher. The workforce came from every part of society. Soldiers were assigned to construction duty. Farmers were forced into labor service. Prisoners and convicted criminals were also sent to work on the frontier. Many laborers traveled hundreds of miles from their homes. The conditions they faced were brutal. Construction often took place in remote mountain regions, deserts, and isolated borderlands, where food and water were limited. There were no machines, engines, cranes, or modern tools. Every basket of soil, every stone block, and every piece of timber had to be transported by human labor or animals. Workers spent long days digging foundations, hauling materials, and building walls across some of the most difficult terrain in China. Summer heat could be unbearable. Winter temperatures could be deadly. Disease spread easily through crowded work camps. Accidents were common. Exhaustion claimed countless lives. No one knows exactly how many people died during construction. Over the centuries, stories emerged claiming that millions of workers perished. Most historians consider those figures exaggerated. However, experts generally agree that tens of thousands of laborers likely died, and the true number may have been significantly higher when all periods of construction are considered. The enormous human cost became deeply embedded in Chinese culture. The earliest large-scale sections were constructed during the Qin Dynasty. These early walls were mainly made from compacted earth and other local materials. Because they were less durable than stone or brick, much of the original Qin-era wall gradually disappeared due to erosion, weather, and neglect over the centuries. After the fall of the Qin Dynasty, later Chinese rulers continued repairing and extending defensive walls whenever threats emerged along the northern frontier. Different dynasties strengthened existing fortifications and added new sections to improve security. The most important reconstruction took place during the Ming Dynasty, which ruled China from 1368 to 1644. The Ming rulers faced a serious threat from the Mongols, who had previously conquered China and established the Yuan dynasty. Even after losing control of China, Mongol forces remained powerful and continued to threaten the northern border. Determined to prevent another invasion, the Ming government launched one of the largest construction projects in history. Unlike earlier walls made mostly from earth and wood, Ming engineers used bricks, cut stone, and lime mortar. These materials made the walls stronger, taller, and far more durable than previous versions. Many sections reached heights of 20 to 30 feet and were wide enough for soldiers, horses, and supply carts to travel along the top. The wall became more than a simple barrier. It developed into a massive military defense system designed to protect one of the world's largest empires. Contrary to popular belief, the Great Wall was never intended to be an impenetrable obstacle that could stop every invasion. Its primary purpose was to slow enemy movements, provide early warning of attacks, control trade routes, and give Chinese armies time to respond before invaders could advance deep into the country. To achieve these goals, the wall became part of a vast military network. Thousands of watchtowers were built along its length. Many towers were positioned close enough to maintain visual contact with neighboring towers. These structures served as observation posts, communication centers, storage facilities, and defensive positions. Soldiers stationed in the towers constantly monitored the surrounding landscape. When enemy forces were detected, warning signals could be sent rapidly. During the day, smoke signals were used, while fire beacons were used at night. Drums, bells, and flags could also assist communication depending on weather conditions. This communication system was highly effective for its time. Messages could travel hundreds of miles within hours, allowing military commanders to prepare defenses well before invaders reached populated regions. In many ways, the Great Wall functioned as both a defensive structure and an ancient communication network. The wall also helped regulate movement across China's northern frontier. Important gates were heavily fortified and guarded. Merchants, travelers, diplomats, and traders often had to pass through these controlled entry points. This enabled authorities to monitor trade, collect taxes, and restrict unauthorized crossings. The Great Wall successfully discouraged many small raids and slowed larger invasions. It provided valuable warning time and forced enemies to attack at specific locations. However, no wall in history has been completely invincible. One of the greatest challenges came from the Mongols. During the 13th century, the Mongol Empire expanded rapidly under Genghis Khan and his successors. Mongol armies were famous for their speed, discipline, and military effectiveness. Despite existing defenses, they repeatedly entered Chinese territory. In 1211, Genghis Khan launched a major invasion of northern China. Over the following decades, Mongol forces captured cities and gradually expanded their control. Eventually, Kublai Khan completed the conquest and established the Yuan dynasty in 1271. This conquest demonstrated that walls alone could not guarantee security. Military strength, leadership, political stability, and effective logistics were equally important. Ironically, after China was conquered by the Mongols, the Ming Dynasty later rebuilt the Great Wall more extensively than ever before. Ming engineers strengthened fortifications, expanded military garrisons, and reinforced vulnerable regions. Construction often took place in difficult terrain, including steep mountain ridges and remote deserts. Builders adapted their methods based on local resources, using stone in mountainous areas and rammed earth where stone was scarce. The result was one of the most impressive construction projects ever completed. Many of the wall sections visible today date from the Ming period. Today, the Great Wall is recognized as one of the world's greatest cultural landmarks. It was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1987 and attracts millions of visitors every year. More than a military structure, it symbolizes human determination, engineering skill, and the ability of governments to organize enormous projects. The wall also reminds us of the human cost behind great achievements. Hundreds of thousands of workers contributed to its construction across many generations, often under harsh conditions. Their efforts created a monument that has endured for centuries and remains one of the most recognizable structures on Earth. More than 2,000 years after construction began, the Great Wall of China continues to stand as a symbol of endurance, ambition, and the remarkable achievements of human civilization.